The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. 27 alien leaders sat around a massive circular table. Holograms flickered, showing a small blue planet. "Earth," said Mox, the intelligence director. His smooth gray skin reflected the blue light. "Our sensors picked up unusual energy patterns from this world." Admiral Vex stood up. His red scales clicked as he moved closer to the hologram. "This species is dangerous. They develop weapons too quickly." He pointed one clawed finger at the image. "Look at their progress. From basic flight to nuclear weapons in less than a century." The council leader, Iris, raised her hand for silence. Her 4 eyes blinked slowly. "We must be careful. We know very little about these humans. That is why we must act now," Vex insisted. His voice grew louder. "Before they reach the stars. Before they become a real threat." Images of Earth's wars flashed in the air. Bombs dropping. Tanks rolling across fields. Soldiers fighting. "They fight among themselves constantly," Vex continued. "Imagine what they will do to us when they reach our worlds." The council members shifted uncomfortably. Most had not seen real war in thousands of years. "I propose we send a warning," said Trell, a military commander with blue skin. "Show our power. Make them understand their place in the galaxy." Mox frowned. "Our reports are incomplete. We should study them more first." "There is no time." Vex slammed his fist on the table. "Every day they grow stronger. Every day they come closer to leaving their planet." The vote was called. 18 raised their hands for war. 9 voted against. The decision was made. On Earth, Colonel Alex Mason walked through an underground base hidden deep in the mountains. His footsteps echoed on the metal floor. "Sir, we detected something entering our solar system," a young officer said, looking up from her screen. Mason stopped. "Show me." A large screen lit up, showing a strange object moving past Mars. "It's slowing down," the officer said. "And it's big. Really big." Mason reached for a secure phone. "Get me the president. Now." Within hours, leaders from every major nation gathered in a secure video conference. "What are we looking at, Colonel?" asked the president, her face serious on the screen. "First contact, Madam President," Mason replied. "An alien ship, and based on its size and speed, it's far beyond our technology." The Chinese president leaned forward. "Have they communicated?" "Not yet, but they—" Mason was interrupted by his officer. "Sir, they're sending a transmission. It's in English." The alien message played across screens worldwide. "People of Earth, your violent development has been observed. The Galactic Council demands your immediate surrender and disarmament. Resistance will result in demonstration of force." Silence filled the room. Then the Russian president spoke. "They think we will just give up, without even a fight." Mason cleared his throat. "There's something else you need to know." He pressed a button, and images appeared of a secret facility. 15 years ago, we recovered a crashed alien scout ship. We've been studying it, reverse engineering it. Gasps filled the conference room. "We're not defenseless," Mason continued. "We've developed shields based on their technology and weapons." The president's eyes narrowed. "You kept this from world leaders. Until now, we thought it best. But now—" Mason looked at the alien ship on the screen. "Now we need to work together." The president stood. "Get our response ready. Tell these aliens that Earth does not surrender." 3 days later, the alien ship destroyed an uninhabited island as a show of force. Earth's hidden defenses activated, shooting down their second attack. The shocked aliens sent an emergency message to their council. The war had begun, and the council had no idea what they had just started. Commander Trell stood on the bridge of the battlecruiser Sunfire*. Earth filled the view screen, blue and green and beautiful. "Primitive world," Trell said to his second-in-command. "This will be quick." The mission was simple: destroy an empty island as a show of force. The humans would then surrender, and the war would end before it truly began. "Target the island in the Pacific Ocean," Trell ordered. His blue fingers moved across the control panel. "Minimum power. We don't want to cause ocean damage." The weapon charged with a high-pitched whine. Energy gathered at the front of the ship. Firing in 3, 2, 1. A beam of light shot toward Earth. Trell smiled, expecting to see the island vanish. Instead, the beam hit something invisible above the planet. The energy scattered in all directions. "What happened?" Trell demanded. "Unknown, Commander. The planet has some kind of shield." Trell's 4 eyes widened. "Impossible. They don't have that technology." "Sir, Earth weapons are locking onto us." Before Trell could respond, dozens of missiles rose from the planet's surface. Most bounced off the ship's shields, but 3 broke through. The battlecruiser shook violently. How? How do they have weapons that can hurt us?" Trell shouted as warning lights flashed around him. In the mountain base on Earth, Colonel Mason watched the battle on the main screen. Next to him stood Dr. Eleanor Reed, a tall woman with short gray hair and intense eyes. "The shield is holding," Dr. Reed said, her voice calm despite the tension. "Just like we hoped." Mason nodded. "And the new missiles?" 3 direct hits. Dr. Reed allowed herself a small smile. "The alien ship is damaged." General Robert Thompson, a broad-shouldered man with a serious face, stepped forward. "We should press the advantage. Hit them again before they recover." Mason looked at the president on the video screen. "Madam President." She took a deep breath. "Do it. Show them Earth is not helpless." Mason gave the order. A second wave of missiles launched toward the alien ship. Trell struggled to keep his balance as the ship rocked again. "We've lost engine power. Shields failing," his officer shouted. "Retreat," Trell ordered. "Get us out of this system." "We can't, sir. Engines are offline." Trell stared at the approaching missiles. This was not how the mission was supposed to go. The Council had assured him that humans were primitive, easy targets. "Launch escape pods," he ordered quietly. "Send distress signal to the Council." On Earth, people gathered around screens worldwide, watching the alien ship break apart. Small pods ejected from the larger vessel as it exploded in a flash of light. In the mountain base, Mason turned to Captain James Porter. "Track those escape pods. I want them recovered. The aliens inside will have valuable information." Porter saluted. "Yes, sir." Dr. Reed studied the data from the battle. The alien ship was more advanced than our test vessel, but not by much. They weren't expecting real resistance. "Which means we have a chance," General Thompson said. Mason nodded. "But they'll send more ships. Many more." He looked around the room at the gathered military leaders and scientists. "We need to prepare. All nations must work together now." "We've already started," said Dr. Reed. She pressed a button, showing a network of defense satellites around Earth. "Operation Shield Wall is ready for Phase 2, and I've been working on something new, a way to take the fight to them." Mason looked at the burning debris of the alien ship. "Good, because this was just the beginning. They declared war on Earth thinking we were weak." His eyes narrowed. "It's time to show them their mistake." 5 days after the alien ship was destroyed, leaders from every country met in Geneva. The large meeting hall was packed with presidents, prime ministers, and military chiefs. "The aliens will return," said the president, standing at the center of the room. "And next time, they'll bring more ships." General Thompson stepped forward, pointing to a large screen. "Our satellites have detected movement. A fleet is gathering near Jupiter. We have 2 weeks, maybe less." A murmur of fear spread through the room. "We need to unite," the president continued. "Not as separate countries, but as Earth, as humans." The Chinese president stood. "We agree. China offers its full military support." One by one, each leader pledged to join the newly formed Global Defense Alliance. Old enemies became allies against this new threat. At the mountain base, now called Command Center Alpha, Dr. Eleanor Reed worked with scientists from around the world. The base buzzed with activity. The SHIELD network is at 60% coverage, she told Colonel Mason. We need more satellites. They're being launched every hour, Mason replied. But will it be enough? Before Dr. Reed could answer, Captain Porter entered the room. Sir, one of the alien prisoners is talking. You'll want to hear this. They followed Porter to a secure room where a blue-skinned alien sat behind a glass wall. This was Krell, a junior officer from the destroyed ship. The Council thinks you are savages, Krell said in broken English. They don't know about your shields, your weapons. How many ships are coming? Mason asked. 20 battle cruisers, thousands of fighters. Krell looked down. They will burn your cities. Dr. Reed stepped closer to the glass. What are their weaknesses? How can we fight them? Krell hesitated, then said, They're ships. The engines need to cool after long jumps. Attack then. In a small workshop outside Detroit, Joe Miller wiped sweat from his forehead. He wasn't a soldier or a scientist. He was a mechanic. But now he was working with a team of engineers on something that might help save the world. Around him, dozens of people built strange devices using plans based on the captured alien technology. Try it now, Joe said, stepping back from the machine. His friend Tom pressed a button. The device hummed and created a small bubble of energy. It works, Tom shouted. The portable shield works. Joe grinned. Not just a shield. Watch this. He picked up a piece of metal and threw it into the bubble. The metal shot out the other side with incredible speed. It amplifies force, Joe explained. We can turn their energy weapons against them. In orbit, the first of Earth's space fighters prepared for battle. These ships, built using reverse-engineered alien technology, were piloted by the best from air forces around the world. Remember your training, Mason told the pilots through the comm system. Hit and run. Don't try to match them in direct combat. Dr. Reed stood beside him, watching the fleet grow. Will it be enough? It has to be, Mason said. But we have one advantage they don't expect. What's that? They think we're primitive. They're coming to crush what they see as an easy target. Mason smiled grimly. That underestimation is our greatest weapon. Dr. Reed's phone beeped. She looked at the message and her eyes widened. Joe Miller's team did it. The force amplifiers are ready. Mason nodded. Get them to the defense stations immediately. Across Earth, people prepared. Soldiers moved into position. Civilians built shelters. Scientists worked day and night on new weapons. And high above, the alien fleet approached, unaware that they were flying into a trap set by a species they had fatally underestimated. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was loud and chaotic. News of the Sunfire's destruction had spread quickly, causing panic. Impossible, shouted a delegate with 6 arms. How could primitives destroy our battlecruiser? Admiral Vex stood at the center, his red scales dark with anger. It was a surprise attack. Nothing more. Intelligence Director Mox moved to the display table. His gray fingers brought up images from the Sunfire's glass transmission. The humans have shields, Mox said calmly, and weapons that can damage our ships. How? Demanded the Council leader Iris. Your reports said they were centuries behind us. Mox looked directly at Vex. Yes, that is what the Admiral's reports claimed. Vex hissed. Are you questioning me, Mox? I am questioning your data. Mox displayed more images. These show human technology from before we contacted them. They already had devices similar to our early shield designs. Whispers spread through the council chamber. We have also learned they captured several crew members from the Sunfire Mox continued. They may have gained valuable information. Iris's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Perhaps we should reconsider this war. No. Vex slammed his fist down. We cannot show weakness. I have already dispatched the main fleet. 20 battlecruisers will arrive at Earth in 5 days. The council erupted in argument. Some supported Vex, while others called for peace talks. The vote has been cast, Vex reminded them. The war continues. After the meeting, Mox walked quickly to his private office. Once alone, he activated a secure communication device. "The fleet is coming," he said quietly. "Vex will not stop." On the screen, a human face appeared. It was Dr. Reed. "We expected that," she replied. "Our defenses are almost ready." Mox sighed. "I've learned more about Vex's plans. He falsified the reports about humans. He wanted this war." "Why?" asked Dr. Reed. "Power. His species, the Kraxan, were once warriors. Now they are diplomats. He wants to return to the old ways." Mox looked around nervously. "I am sending you the fleet's approach vectors. They're vulnerable points." "Why are you helping us?" Dr. Reed asked. "Because Vex is wrong. This war should never have started." Mox pressed a button, sending the data. "I must go. They are watching me." On the command ship of the alien fleet, Admiral Vex watched space slip by. His second-in-command approached. "Admiral, we've received strange readings from Earth," he said. "They've launched satellites with technology similar to our own." Vex waved a dismissive hand. "Copied from the Sunfire's Asterisk wreckage. No doubt. It won't help them." "Sir, Intelligence Director Mox has requested that we delay the attack. He believes we need more information." Vex turned, eyes narrow. "Mox is a coward. The attack proceeds as planned." He walked to the window, watching the stars. Soon Earth would be his greatest victory. The Kraxan would once again be feared throughout the galaxy. "Sir," the officer said hesitantly, "what if the humans are stronger than we thought?" Vex laughed. 20 battlecruisers against a single planet of primitives. There is no question of the outcome. Back on Earth, Colonel Mason studied the information from Mox. "If this is accurate," he told the gathered military leaders, "we can target their engines when they exit faster than light travel." General Thompson nodded. "Joe Miller's force amplifiers are deployed. Dr. Reed's shield network is at 92% coverage." "And our fighters?" Mason asked. "Ready and waiting in orbit." Mason looked at the projected path of the alien fleet. "Then we're as ready as we'll ever be." The room fell silent as they all realized what was coming. The greatest battle in human history. The alien fleet appeared just beyond the moon. 20 massive battlecruisers that dwarfed anything humans had built. Thousands of smaller fighter ships surrounded them, ready for attack. On the lead ship, Admiral Vex smiled as Earth came into view. "Begin the attack. Target their major cities first." "Sir," his officer said, "our engines need to cool after the jump." "It doesn't matter," Vex replied. "They can't hurt us. Launch fighters now." Alien fighters streamed toward Earth, weapons hot and ready to fire. In Command Center Alpha, Colonel Mason watched the alien fleet on the main screen. "They're here," he said simply. General Thompson nodded. "All units in position." Dr. Reed checked her tablet. "Shield network at full power." Mason took a deep breath and pressed the comm button. "All forces, this is Colonel Mason. Commence Operation Thunderbolt." The first wave of alien fighters hit Earth's shield and couldn't break through. They circled, confused by the unexpected resistance. Then Earth's defense platforms activated. Hundreds of satellites fired energy weapons based on Joe Miller's force amplifiers. The weapons caught the alien fighters by surprise, cutting through their shields like they weren't there. In space, Earth's fighters launched from hidden bases on the Moon and Mars. They were smaller than the alien ships, but piloted by humans who fought with unexpected tactics, diving, spinning, and attacking in ways the aliens couldn't predict. "What is happening?" Vex demanded as reports of fighter losses poured in. "How are they doing this?" His officer looked up from the screen, fear in his eyes. "Sir, their weapons, they use our own shield energy against us." Before Vex could respond, a massive explosion rocked the ship. Direct hit on engines. Someone shouted. shields failing. Joe Miller sat at a control station on one of Earth's orbital platforms. He wasn't a soldier, but he knew his machines better than anyone. Adjust amplifier angle by 3 degrees, he told his team. Focus on the big ship in the center. The platform turned slightly, and the energy beam strengthened. On the screen, Joe watched as the alien ship's shield glowed brighter and brighter before collapsing. "Got you," he whispered. Around the world, people watched the battle on their screens. They saw alien ships falling from the sky, hit by weapons they couldn't understand. They cheered as Earth's fighters, painted with flags from every nation, fought back against the invaders. In New York, London, Beijing, and 1,000 other cities, humans stood together, watching history unfold. On his damaged ship, Admiral Vex couldn't believe what he was seeing. Half his fleet was disabled or destroyed. The rest were surrounded by Earth's forces. "How?" he demanded. "How did primitives defeat us?" His second-in-command looked up from the controls. "Sir, they're hailing us. They want to talk." On the screen, Colonel Mason appeared. "This is Earth. Your attack has failed. Surrender now." Vex hissed in anger. "Never. I would rather die." He pressed a button, and a hidden compartment opened on his command console. "Sir, what are you doing?" his officer asked, eyes wide with fear. Vex removed a small device. "If we cannot win, no one will. This planet killer will destroy all life on Earth. But, sir, the Council forbids those weapons. The Council is weak," Vex shouted. "I make the decisions now." He activated the device, and a small probe launched from the ship, heading toward Earth. It carried enough power to crack the planet in half. "Now," Vex said with a cold smile, "let's see how clever these humans really are." The alarm sounded throughout Command Center Alpha. Red lights flashed as sensors detected the planet killer. "What is that?" Colonel Mason asked, pointing to the small but deadly probe on the screen. Dr. Reed checked the readings and her face went pale. "Energy levels off the charts. If that hits Earth, can our shields stop it?" General Thompson asked. Dr. Reed shook her head. "No, it's designed to use our shield energy to grow stronger." The room fell silent as the truth sank in. They had won the battle but were about to lose everything. Then a voice came through the communication system. "Earth Command, this is Intelligence Director Mox. I know what Vex has launched. I can help." On the Galactic Council's emergency communication channel, Mox stood before the gathered leaders. His normally calm voice shook with anger. "Admiral Vex has deployed a planet-killer weapon against Earth," he announced. "A weapon forbidden by our oldest laws." The council members gasped in shock. "This war should never have happened," Mox continued. "I have evidence that Vex falsified his reports about humans. He claimed they were primitive and dangerous. But look at the truth. He showed images of Earth's art, music, and scientific achievements. They are different from us, yes, but not primitive, not evil." Mox straightened his shoulders. "I am taking my ship to intercept the planet killer. Who will join me?" Iris, the council leader, stood immediately. "I will. This wrong must be corrected." One by one, ships from 7 different council species broke away from the main fleet and followed Mox toward the deadly probe. In Earth's orbit, Colonel Mason made a difficult decision. "We need to intercept that weapon before it reaches the atmosphere," he told his pilots. "It's a one-way mission." Captain Lisa Jenkins, the lead fighter pilot, nodded. "We understand, sir. We're ready." Mason looked at the brave men and women volunteering for what would likely be their last mission. "Launch when ready. And thank you." The Earth fighters shot into space, racing to reach the planet killer. On his damaged battlecruiser, Admiral Vex watched with satisfaction as the planet killer moved toward Earth. "Sir," his officer reported, "several council ships are moving to intercept the weapon. Director Mox is leading them." Vex slammed his fist down. "Traitors, target them immediately." "We cannot, sir. Weapon systems are offline. Vex stood, eyes burning with hatred. Then prepare my personal ship. I will stop them myself. In space, an unlikely alliance formed. Earth fighters flew alongside Council ships, all with the same mission: stop the planet killer. Director Mox's voice came through to Captain Jenkins. The probe's outer shell is nearly indestructible. We must hit the control module at its center. How do we reach it? Jenkins asked. We need to open a path with our combined weapons, Mox replied. Then someone must fly inside and destroy it from within. Jenkins looked at the deadly probe ahead. I'll do it. Before they could act, a small ship appeared, firing wildly at both Earth and Council vessels. Vex, Mox said grimly. He won't let this end. Earth and Council ships fired together, disabling Vex's vessel. With the Admiral temporarily out of action, they turned their attention back to the planet killer. Now, Mox ordered. All ships, concentrate fire. The combined fleet fired at a single point on the probe. Slowly, a small opening appeared in its shell. It's now or never, Captain Jenkins said, aiming her fighter at the tiny gap. For Earth, her ship disappeared into the planet killer as both humans and aliens watched in breathless silence, waiting to see if one brave pilot could save a world. The seconds stretched like hours as everyone watched Captain Jenkins' fighter disappear into the planet killer. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the probe began to glow from within. Cracks appeared on its surface, spreading like lightning across metal. With a silent flash that lit up space, the deadly weapon exploded. In Command Center Alpha, cheers erupted. Dr. Reed wiped tears from her eyes. She did it. Jenkins saved us all. Colonel Mason nodded solemnly. At the highest cost. Colonel, an officer called out, we're detecting a small object ejected from the explosion. It's a life pod. On the screen, they watched as a Council ship quickly moved to retrieve the pod. Director Mox's voice came through. We have her. Captain Jenkins is alive. 3 weeks later, the war officially ended. The remaining alien ships withdrew to a safe distance. In their place came a diplomatic vessel carrying representatives from the Galactic Council. The meeting took place in the United Nations building in New York. Humans from every nation gathered to meet with delegates from 12 alien species. Intelligence Director Mox stood before the assembly. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I offer our deepest apologies. This war was based on lies and fear. Next to him stood Iris, the Council leader. We have stripped Admiral Vex of all rank and power. He awaits trial for his crimes. Colonel Mason stepped forward with Dr. Reed, General Thompson, and Joe Miller beside him. Earth accepts your apology. Now we must look to the future. Iris nodded. We propose a peace treaty, not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. The human and alien delegates spent hours discussing terms. The Council would provide technology and knowledge. Humans would share their unique perspectives and creativity. Joe Miller examined the alien engine with fascination. This is amazing, but I think we can improve it. The alien engineer, Trell, the same commander whose ship was first defeated by Earth, looked surprised. How? This design has been standard for centuries. Joe sketched a new configuration on his tablet. If we redirect the energy flow here, it would be 30% more efficient. Trell studied the design, eyes widening. That could work. Why didn't we think of that? Sometimes, Joe said with a smile, you need fresh eyes on an old problem. 6 months later, Admiral Vex stood before a joint Human Council tribunal. His red scales had dulled during his imprisonment. You stand accused of falsifying intelligence reports and using forbidden weapons, Iris said. Do you have anything to say? Vex looked at the humans in the room with hatred. You don't understand. Their unpredictability makes them dangerous. Their creativity makes them a threat. Dr. Reed stood, or it makes us valuable allies. We see solutions where you see only problems. The verdict is unanimous, Iris announced. guilty on all charges. 1 year after the war, the first joint human-alien space station opened in Earth orbit. It became a center for scientific and cultural exchange. In an observation lounge, Colonel Mason stood with Director Mox, watching Earth spin below. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when your council declared war?" Mason asked. Mox shook his head. "Never. We thought we were facing primitives. Instead, we found equals." "Different, but equal," Mason agreed. On a nearby table, human and alien children played together, learning each other's games and languages. Scientists from both worlds shared discoveries. Artists exchanged ideas. "The Council's mistake," Mox said quietly, "may have been the best thing to happen to both our peoples." Mason smiled. "From enemies to friends. Perhaps that's the greatest victory of all." Below them, Earth continued its journey through space, no longer alone in the vast universe. The war that began with fear and misunderstanding had ended with a new era of cooperation between worlds, proving that sometimes the greatest strength isn't in weapons or technology, but in the ability to learn, adapt, and grow together.